So, the 2026 housing market, what's going to happen? I mean, that is the big question, right? And if you ask the experts, well, you get completely different answers. So today we're going to dig in and try to figure it out. Are we looking at a huge boom, or is it going to be more of a blip? All right, let's get right to it. You want to know the number that's got everyone talking? It's this one, a 14% increase. We're talking a massive jump in home sales projected for 2026. So, where is this number even coming from? Well, this is the official forecast from the National Association of Realtors, the NAR. And they're basically saying, hey, after a few pretty slow years, we're due for a big rebound. And that really gets us to the heart of the matter. Is a 14% jump a real, honest-to-goodness housing boom? Or is it maybe just a little bit of wishful thinking coming from an industry group? Let's unpack both sides. First, let's look at the sunny side of the street. Let's make the case for optimism. What in the world is making the NAR so sure we're about to see a huge surge? It really boils down to the thinking of their chief economist, a guy named Lawrence Yun. He's basically saying that after 3 straight years of, in his words, subpar performance, the market is just plain overdue for meaningfully higher home sales. It's a classic comeback story argument. And if you want to understand their logic, it's actually pretty simple. It's a 2-step dance. Step 1, they assume mortgage rates are going to fall down to around 6%. Step 2, that drop in rates is going to be the magnet that pulls a whole flood of buyers right back into the market. And how many buyers are we talking about here? Well, the NAR thinks that those lower rates could unlock, get this, 5.5 million potential home buyers who are just sitting on the sidelines right now. That is a gigantic pool of pent-up demand. And this quote from Yun, well, it pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Their entire optimistic worldview is built on this one simple idea. Lower mortgage rates will save the day. Super confident, super direct. Okay, so that's the optimistic view. But, and this is a big but, not everybody is buying this story. So now let's flip the coin and hear from the skeptics. They've got a serious reality check for us. And here's the thing. While the NAR is super bullish, a lot of other insiders in the housing world are looking at that 14% number and they're raising a serious eyebrow. It's a major disagreement. And some of the criticism is, well, it's pretty sharp. You've got housing expert John Brooks, who basically says, look, Yun completely missed the 2008 crisis. And he suggests that Yun is, quote, structurally incentivized to publish bullish research. So you see what's happening? They're not just questioning the numbers, they're questioning the person making the numbers. The skeptics believe the NAR is missing something absolutely crucial, and they call it the confidence factor. The theory is pretty simple. It's not just about interest rates. It's about how secure people feel, about their job, about the city they live in, about their finances in general. This quote from Market Minds over on X, it just nails the point. They're saying home sales are all about big life changes, and people just don't do that. They don't change their job, move to a new city, or shake up their whole financial life unless they feel really, really confident. So we've got 2 completely different narratives here. One is optimistic, one is skeptical. So let's do this. Let's put the predictions right next to each other and see how the numbers actually stack up. First, you gotta look at what they're assuming. And right away, you see this small but really important difference. The NAR's rosy forecast is built on rates dropping to 6%. Meanwhile, a more cautious forecaster like Redfin thinks rates will average a little higher, around 6.3%. And wow, this is where you can really see the difference. Just look at this. The NAR is way, way out there with that plus 14%. And then you have Realtor.com and Redfin, and they're way down here. I mean, 3%, 1.7%. That gap is just, it's huge. They're not even in the same ballpark. Seeing it in a simple table like this just makes it so clear. You've got this one massive outlier, and then everyone else clustered way, way below. The range of what the experts think is just enormous. Okay, so the experts are all over the place. What does that actually mean for you? Let's try to cut through the noise and figure out the key things you should actually be keeping an eye on as we head towards 2026. It really all comes down to these 4 things. 1, where do mortgage rates actually go? 2, what happens with the number of homes for sale? Inventory. 3, and this is the big one for the skeptics, what's the deal with buyer confidence and job mobility? And last but definitely not least, overall affordability. And that's not just home prices, that's taxes and insurance too. So when you boil it all down, this whole debate comes down to one single massive question. Will lower mortgage rates, if we even get them, be a big enough superhero to overcome all the other problems like sky-high prices and people just not feeling very confident?
So there you have it. The experts are completely divided. You've got one camp betting everything on interest rates, and the other saying, no, it's all about confidence and affordability. So as we look ahead to 2026, the question isn't just who's going to be right. The real question is, which of these camps are you going to be watching?